Good morning all, hope you're doing well. We've got the risk sentiment overview for the 3rd of the 8th, 2022. We've got the PMI data from the United States later, so all eyes on that. We'll risk on at the big picture and at the 24-hour difference, and the VIX is below its yearly pivot, but it has risen since yesterday. It was at 22 yesterday, and we had a bit of fear come into the markets over the last 24 hours, so that's the reason for the VIX to spike. Lots of data as well, this high severity data. Remember the PMI, it needs to be above 50. If we go below 50, it's a sign of a contraction, recession, so it needs to hold that number. It's like a very important number, 50. So if we get a number below, that's going to be quite bad, to be honest with you. That needs to hold, right? And if we have a better than expected consensus, then that's going to be good for the Eurozone. So this is going to be a big mover. And we've got the PMI from the United States later, like I say. But that 50's got to hold. So by the time, doing this bulletin, this will populate, because it's only 3 minutes time. So we'll keep an eye on that. It needs to hold 50, okay? So the SSI, let's get rid of that. So for every one person buying indices, there's 5 people trying to short. And then that will be normal because the crowd should be bearish. They read news events and they get scared, so they sell, and then that's good for the stock market, because if the dumb money are selling, the big fish will be buying. There's always to be someone on the other side of the transaction, so that's a risk on indication. However, like I said about the VIX, it did spike, and the yields are spiking as well, and that's risk adverse indication. There's probably bracing for the data in the United States later, and possibly the Eurozone data as well. That's a risk off. Alright, so this is risk on. VIX, we're below the yearly pivot, but we did rise quite a bit yesterday, to be honest with you, and this is risk off. So it's a little bit of a mixed picture there. This is really out of bonk, absolutely out of whack. What we want to do is see numbers increase in increments higher from the short dated to long dated, not this up, down, 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 up. That's just out of bonk. That's completely out of whack. So this is risk off. VIX is below its midpoint, so do set an alarm for 26.5. That's important. If we go above that, then that's going to be pretty risk off. Okay. They're selling the German 30, I think, because of the gas pipeline. They could be correct, and they could be right on that. We're going to see a big mover on the German 30 in 2 minutes' time. So the pound yen's a sell, euro yen is a sell, and nothing else really stands out, but we're just looking for dark colours essentially. We want colours to match as well, remember? There's the key, right? We don't really want mixed. We want to have like confirmations over time. This is the time, the difference, and the bias is the high level. So this is low level, this is high level. Dollars is completely reversed, and everything reversed apart from the dollar yen. While we were heavily negative, we're less negative than we were yesterday. So everything's reversed in 24 hours. Okay. So Kiwi CAD is to short. However, this isn't actually panning out. That should be negative. So we keep an eye on this. We'll return back to this tomorrow. It's easy to remember. 80.54. It should fall. If it doesn't, it means that retail guys are going to get paid, and it does happen. So normally these average bubbles are incredibly powerful. And we've had like 100% accuracy since the start of the bulletins. So this should be falling, but it could be payday. And I'm probably going to avoid today. Looking at the price action when I was doing the stop loss clusters, everything was like really spiky and erratic. So I think the reason for that is potentially because of the recession fears, and things are just like, it's a big hustle, isn't it? That's where we stand. So pound yen is fluctuating back and forth, on the zero. So it's actually currently a buy, but it could be a sell. In 5 minutes' time, it's going to fluctuate back and forth. So we've removed the pound yen completely from the Quasidb service. It's just a pain, and even if you're a seasoned trader, it still can be a pain. Even if you're like experienced trader of 10 years, it can be pretty horrendous. To actually get a successful trade out of that particular pair. AJ was removed because of the no technical checks. Pound yen had its technical checks, but yet it just went awry anyway because fundamentals. and we're risk on at the big picture. So just so you know, we've removed pound yen. We can put it back, but at the moment I don't want it in the Quasidb service. It's just horrible. S&Ps, we've got a double bottom, so a break of that should cement the fears, so they should sell it if we break that. So keep an eye on 40.79, and a break of that will encourage them to short, and by doing so then we'll rally and we'll break that range higher, right? US 30 we made a buy, and so likewise if we break that support it should cement the fears. And now they bought the dip on the German 30, so we're probably going to break this diagonal, and if they continue to buy it, we'll continue to fall. So we could come down here. It all depends what they do on in over time. German gold. Oh, the PMI data's out. I'll have to check that. So the 1755 is the level of interest, and that's where they shorted it there. So it's quite a naughty little wick there on just breaking that support. They're probably looking left as well, maybe here, and then so they sold it. So it's a risky buy because at a high level it's a sell, but they're reducing longs. It's the add-in or reducing, that's the time component, and that's why this trading station is really good, because you can see the dynamic flow of the retail sentiment. So get a copy of this trading station, it's really good. So you can see euro yen is undecided, and like I say, pound yen is flip-flopping back and forth, and it caused us a bit of mayhem yesterday. Luckily we did have the full signal on pound yen, because if we didn't, it would have been like a 200 plus loss, pip loss. So good job we had the false message on pound yen yesterday, and it did actually result in a minus 70 pip loss. So even though technically and sentimentally it was okay, it just overrode the sentiment and technical, so I'm just going to remove it. It's just horrible. The biggest move is Euro USD for a sell. It moved 11%, so they really quite shifted on their sentiment. And the largest stop loss cluster is AU below at 68.74, and the size is 3.36, and you want the sells to agree. See, we're seeing quite a lot of agreement there. Okay. And just to know, the promo code is going to expire on the 1st of September, and it's going to go back to 10% discount. If you get it now, it's a huge discount, so get it while you can. After the 1st of September, it loses its power, and it will cost you $31 a month with the discount. So get the discount using the Quasidb code now and get an annual plan, and then you'll be locked in for a year. They are getting paid, and they're getting paid in pound, which is naughty. And they're getting paid on yen and dollar and Swiss franc. So they've all got low scores, so it tells us that the retail guys are getting paid, and this is a worse odds than the casino. So I would potentially, well, I am going to avoid trading because of this low score and the fact that everything's so erratic. If you just look at your price action on the hourly time frame, it's just horrible. So it could be reduce sizes and then use a larger time frame potentially. Yeah, maybe just do like a micro lot and let's zoom out to like maybe a daily or something like that. But I wouldn't do a normal size when things are erratic like this. And so we had quite a substantial loss on pound yen at 71 pips. Aussie USD did okay, and netted us 26 pips. Pound yen initially did quite well, but then of course it just reversed really hard on us. But luckily we had the false message to get us out. So we had a 26 pip loss over the day, which isn't too bad, but it's still annoying, this pound yen. Even though sentimentally and technically it was okay, it resulted in a 71 pip loss because of the fundamentals and just the erratic nature of FX. So I have removed that. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. We won't be getting pound yen for the foreseeable future. Yeah, so it's a nasty pair to trade. It's pretty horrendous. So that's how we stand. EU is neutral. Pound USD is buy. So remember, we're only looking at daily and the summary. Dollar Swiss is strong sell. AU is neutral. So there's quite a few things that are neutral. So dollar CAD's neutral. So we're in like a sort of a flux at the moment. So I'm out. I think today. I'm fine. I'm just going to probably maybe monitor the dollar CAD, the Kiwi CAD, because that should be falling. but I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to trade it. I'm probably going to monitor it, but maybe not trade it. So there's the PMI data, and that's something we need to be aware of, especially if you're trading around the dollar crosses as well. The retail sales is going to be a big mover as well, potentially. So be careful and always trade safely. And I can wrap up now. Hopefully you guys understand about the pound yen. Hope you don't mind, but it's just stressful because I look at it and it's like, oh great, and it doesn't really improve your mood. Especially if you're taking the signals without prep, you know, you've encountered some lot of volatility. So just remember to do a lot of technical analysis. Get a small time frame entry if you want to take a signal. If you're looking at a small time frame and it looks bearish, don't wait until it looks bullish. You know, don't enter blindly. Do some analysis and then know where your exit is as well. That's really important. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But usually these are quite good, these FXCM forecasts. So potentially down on the German 30 and up for the US 30. And S&P, we might break this range high and we might zoom up. It all depends maybe on the US data and what the crowd do as well. If they short it, we'll come up. So that's that. So I'm going to wrap up now. Hopefully it was a good video. Any likes and subscribes would be cool. Keep an eye on the Kiwi CAD, and we'll see if that falls. Remember 80.54. We're going to return to this tomorrow to see how this performs. So have a great day, and I'll speak to you guys later.